In the year 2020, MMORPGs that are free to play have gone downhill like crazy. So today we're going to be reviewing Neverwinter, free to play, Xbox, PC, and PS4, and we're going to see what this game has to offer. My very first impressions of this game for a release in 2016 were the graphics were really good. For a game back in 2016, this was excellent. Just a few minutes into the game, they introduce you to the main butthole of the genre, which is going to be this zombie chick right here. She tosses that homie, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? No, I'm not wearing a shirt. And then we get into our first boss fight, and I think it went pretty well. There was a few surprises. You get into the mechanics fairly easily. It's tab-based / target MMO action combat, which is really nice. There's a few moves you have to have a target for, and then there's a few moves where you can just do whatever. I use a certain jump technique to get around the map a little faster. But all in all, I was impressed. It throws you into the action right away, and you're not bored. The leveling system so far isn't that bad. There's a couple fetch quests, but it's mainly dungeons, instances, and where you find a group of players and you go ahead and go have fun. Can I squat? Can I teabag? Okay, the main downfall of this game is going to be the fact that it is a 2016 release, for PS4 anyway. And they don't explain a lot to you. So I sat here like an idiot, on stream mind you, trying to get into this door. They wanted me to go in here and I could not figure out how to get in this door. And then eventually I realized, hey, it's telling me I need to gather my group. Well, what's that gonna mean? Well, the only reason why I couldn't get into this little area was because I was in a group with somebody that I met. I met him in the raid that we did. It's a beginner raid. To progress the story, you have to do it, and it wasn't that hard to find a group for it, but I'll show you that later. So after, a few minutes of sitting here, clicking X on this door, something just clicked in my head. Hey, I have to leave this group. This won't let me in because the group's not there. You can do this quest together, but to enter, your group has to be in front of the door. There we go. I was in a group. Otherwise, you need to leave the group. So that was one of the most frustrating things. All right, link letter.
Timora, please help us. It's my wife, Dorothea. She was spell scarred.
Now there's some really interesting quests. I don't know how to explain this one. I had to get through. Dorothy, apparently this guy hired me to beat his wife. Now I understand why. She seemed to be a little frustrated with him. I don't know what he did to where he needed to hire me to kick her ass, but I did. Okay, and I'm not gonna lie, it was one of the funniest quests.
Help me, please help me.
Homie literally just hired me to beat his wife. Yikes. It's gonna be yikes for me, dog. Right. So there's an awesome amount of content in here, and they have about 5 years worth of content. They're still releasing content from what I'm understanding. And the story's actually quite amazing. I don't have anything to say other than the story and the timeline are perfect. It is really fun to play. No. Very early on in this game, they teach you what companions are, how many companions you can get, and very soon on, I picked a dog. Obviously, I named him Dog Filter because that's what my dog's name is. But it was really fun, and they gave him to me early. So there's a ton of different ways you can play the game. You can find groups. There's a massive amount of people playing, which really surprised me. This server is not dead. And sometimes, I wanted to mess around, pretend like I was in a super crazy action scene, so I'm running slow motion while this guy, does all the work. But hey, I did all this stuff for him. He should do a little bit of the work. But this was actually kind of fun. So you play however you want. And was that not the coolest thing you've ever seen? I mean, that was pretty sexy. Okay, so let's get into the dungeons. Alright, so this is the quest that you have to participate in to further the story. You need 5 people to run it. For a low-level dungeon, what I really liked about this is that, you know, a lot of people are new to MMOs. Some people aren't super hardcore, know their roles in a dungeon raid, stuff like that. So this one's fairly easy. We kind of just ran through it. We weren't worried about anything. There was definitely a guy in here, you can tell he probably already has a level 80 character and he's leveling up another character because he would just run straight to the end. And overall, good experience because the group I was with, you can tell, you know, they don't really play hardcore MMOs. And it was definitely just, hey, I want to play this. I don't really know much about raids or what my position is. I mean, our healer, he was playing as a DPS. So, I mean, you can understand where that's coming from. So, one thing I want to point out, and what is probably on everybody's mind, is the server active? Are you going to be standing in this world by yourself? No. The short answer is no. For a low-level area, there is so many new players jumping in, and I'm pretty sure it has to do, you know, with a lot of the reviews, which I was looking at reviews where, you know, Neverwinter in 2020, Terra Online in 2020, which I'll have that video up later because I did play all the way to endgame level 65, and that is where everybody's at. So in a lot of these MMOs, they're not dead if you get to endgame, which is where everybody that played the game is going to be. Okay, anybody that's still playing the game is going to be there. What I liked about this one is that even though I just created my character, which I am level 12, and it did not take long to get to level 12. At level 12, there is an abundance of players.
Alright boys, so who's our tank?
So one of the coolest things was in these low-level dungeons, they have this circle. So our DPS healer can't run in, pull aggro, and get us wiped. So everybody needs to be together before you can open the gate to the boss. It was pretty well done, I think. You know, I may have died, I may have not. You guys go ahead and look. But other than that, I'm impressed with the amount of players that I'm finding. Just in these low-level areas, there are so many players, which, in all honesty, it's going to make you lag a bit. So let's watch a little boss gameplay. You know, you can see how we did, and then, you know, decide for yourself. As you can see, I didn't do too well. Hey, sue me. But the wing guy that you saw right there, yeah, that was our DPS healer. He's a goat. So now we'll end it off, you know. The looting system is kind of like WoW. You can master loot, need or greed kind of rolls. It does force you to roll on stuff unless you set the loot, which is pretty cool if you want to ninja loot people, you know. I'm not saying do that, but I'm saying do that. Especially at these low levels. But yeah, so then we just part ways, we leave, and then I stuck around with one of the guys and we ran quests together right after. So I stood here for a little bit to get a time lapse of server activity. This is just in one of the main gates that's far away from where everybody spawns in. So people don't come through this area. Typically, like, a very small amount of people will come through here, but as you can see, I'm already having players spawn in, run around me, and just overall do what they're doing. So if you want to find a group, it's not going to be hard to do. So how would I rate this game? For a free MMORPG on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, this is the best one you're going to find. Okay, free to play, massive amount of people. I'd say give it a try. There's so many people running around this game and playing it right now. I mean, why wouldn't you? So if you like MMOs, this is the one for you. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in game.